We're not made to follow the rules of this world. We were made in God's image to follow the kingdom of heaven. And so we need to understand who He is and what those rules look like for us to be able to line up with that and get who we are. Unfortunately, because we don't get the rules of heaven, we live by the rules of this world. And the fig leaves that we put on coming out of the garden have to do with the rules of this world, mean we've got to hide things. People are not safe. The world is not safe. We are not safe for ourselves. We are not safe with God. We are not safe with each other. Creation is not safe. There's nothing in creation that is not safe. And so you have this incredible fragmentation. And so the world's rules say to survive in this world, keep the fig leaves on, which means you've got to perform to get everything you want. You have got to, your identity, your true self-identity will be hijacked because you're going to function in what everybody says you should be. You are defined generally by other people, not by God. And because you're defined by other people, you start to wear a mask to give them what they want. And people pleasing, putting people in the God spot that belongs to God. God is your definer. When people start to define you and they're broken people, you will be screwed up, okay? People pleasing comes from our reaction to that. How do you know if you're a people pleaser? Anybody in here never struggle with people pleasing?
No. Not struggle with it?
Never struggle with people pleasing. Does anybody never struggle with people pleasing? Okay. I'm not going to ask how many people are struggling with it now, because I think if we're all honest, every single one of us struggles with it to some degree. Okay. And how you know the people pleasing, which is a hallmark of this world, of your insecurity in this world, is every time you have to engage a conversation that's uncomfortable and you're afraid to do it because that other person might not like you, I promise you, you struggle with people pleasing. You struggle with what are other people going to think of me. Every time you perceive what somebody says or even a glance that they give you and you feel a certain way about yourself, you struggle with people pleasing, okay? It is a part of human nature. The truth is, when you're able to engage conversations because of who God is and not worry about the consequences, that's the kingdom rules. We are ambassadors for a king. We are basically the ambassadors. If we were the ambassadors for the president, and I'm not going to be political, and some of you might not like that, and some of you might, but if we were the ambassadors if we were the communication director for the president, we would not be going out and saying the things that we want to say or how we feel. We would be going out and saying the party line of what the president. We are the mouthpiece. Ambassador means we use our lives to represent, okay? And so what are we representing? We are representing God, which means we need to know God. So the rules of the kingdom are, I am not my own. I was bought with a price, which is the price is Jesus' blood. I was bought with a price, which means I am an ambassador now for the kingdom. The interesting part about that is that ambassadors usually are either paid people or there's kind of like, I am a servant too. And it's interesting that Jesus said, even in the posture of serving, which we see Jesus do throughout his whole life here, he's serving all the time, but he calls us friends, okay? He's serving all the time, but he calls us brothers and sisters, okay? He shows us, God calls us his own, which means that even the prodigal son who takes off and, doesn't ambassador very well for the kingdom, God with open arms welcomes back because he loves us. So there's nothing we do that is going to separate us from child of God once we accept Jesus, okay? So the position of understanding and being able to take the fig leaves off so that we can live the kingdom. In the kingdom rules, we show our true self, which is who God created us to be, okay? Now, to show our true self means we also show our brokenness. And we're able to talk about our brokenness, part of the human condition, And so we're talking about our brokenness so that more and more we are being transformed into the true self that God created us to be.